What's up and welcome to the video. My name is Dr. Daniel Ricciardi. I'm a gut health expert, licensed pharmacist, and fitness enthusiast. I help clients resolve bloating, gas, and other digestive problems so they can look and feel their best. This week's video is going to break down the checklist that I use to help patients with SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and keep it from coming back. There's a ton of emphasis on the treatment itself in order to get rid of SIBO, things such as the elemental diet, antibiotics, antimicrobial herbs. And while the treatment is obviously a very important, necessary step to getting rid of SIBO, it's not the only thing that's important. This video is going to kind of fill in the gaps about the things that are helpful for SIBO besides just the treatments, and will be a bird's eye view of a checklist of steps that have worked for me as a practitioner, and hopefully you'll find them helpful as well. All right, so the first thing to do would be to take a lactulose hydrogen breath test to see if you actually have SIBO or IMO, intestinal methanogen overgrowth. I know testing is not available everywhere, but I would make every effort possible to do this if you think that you may have SIBO. Not everybody that has bloating, gas, digestive issues, brain fog, etc. has SIBO. There are a lot of different reasons why you may have these symptoms. Because of this, I think it's better to actually get tested and know for certain than to just guess, and you may be wasting time, energy, money, and taking a lot of different supplements and pills that you may not need. The second step then would be to decide which treatment that you want to do. It often helps to work with a practitioner for this because the best treatment for you can depend on a lot of factors, such as which types of SIBO you have, how high your gas levels are, whether you have loose stools or constipation, what treatments are available where you live, and finally the price. The treatment options include the elemental diet, antimicrobial herbs, antibiotics, and I'll even throw as a fourth option in there the carnivore diet. I made a video on this last week. If you haven't seen it yet, you can click this link right here to view it. The third step is to address constipation. If you have it, not everybody that has SIBO has constipation. Sometimes you'll have normal bowel movements or even loose stools. In that case, you probably don't have to worry too much about addressing this component. The reason that you don't want to be constipated when you have SIBO is that bowel movements are a way to get toxins out of your body. When we begin treatment and we start eliminating bacteria, these bacteria break down into smaller pieces called LPS or lipopolysaccharides. These are toxins for your body, and we definitely don't want them in our intestine. The longer these toxins hang around and the more of them that are there, they actually can cause what are known as a Herx reaction or die-off, which means that you may get excessive flu-like symptoms, chills, rashes, can be just more digestive symptoms that you already have, and also things such as brain fog, fatigue, headaches. These cannot always be avoided, but in general, we want to do our best to try to not have them happen. The fourth item on here is to determine which diet you are going to do. Well, if you're doing the elemental diet, this is straightforward. Obviously, you're just drinking the shakes made up of the elemental diet powder. The carnivore diet is also pretty straightforward, only animal-based proteins and fats. But the diets to use best with antimicrobial herbs or antibiotics aren't quite as clear. It's generally accepted that you should do some kind of diet that limits carbohydrates, sugars, and fiber. I typically like to recommend people start with some kind of low FODMAP diet. If you look online, you'll probably see hundreds of different takes on the low FODMAP diet. They're all a little bit different. Some say you can have a certain amount of nuts a day. Some say you can't have any at all. Some say you can have 4 spears of asparagus in your diet, or all these other specific calculated amounts based on how much fermentable fiber is specifically in each food. The reality is bacteria use these sugar, carbs, and fiber as their food source. Any diet that really includes any of them could potentially be worsening symptoms. This is why every one of these diets could be helpful or could make things worse. I would just recommend picking one and getting started. After you start, you can make adjustments after you see what foods work better for you and which ones don't. Remember that a low FODMAP diet or low fermentation diet, it's not actually getting rid of SIBO, it's just lowering the symptoms as you're doing the actual treatment. The fifth thing on the checklist is to consider addressing biofilms. Again, this is meant to do mainly if you're doing the antimicrobial herbs or antibiotics as treatment. Bacteria can form these biofilm matrices around themselves for protection and survival in your intestine, and it can make it more difficult with antimicrobial herbs or antibiotics to eliminate SIBO if these biofilms are there. I don't think that they're always necessary necessary to address, but if you've noticed that you've tried a bunch of things that haven't worked and maybe have a difficult case of SIBO, I think it's worth looking into. The sixth item on the checklist is the actual treatment that you are going to do. This can include, as I've mentioned several times before, antibiotics, antimicrobial herbs, elemental diet, or carnivore diet. The duration of treatment depends on which treatment option you choose. Seventh item, this is after you do a round of treatment, whatever it is to do a follow-up lactulose hydrogen breath test. So the same test that you did before you started the treatment. Hopefully you are feeling better, but even if you are not, I still think this is a good idea to do. And here's why. There's two most likely situations that will come up after you do SIBO treatment. Scenario number one, you feel the same. You don't really feel any better. Even though you feel the same, the treatment that you did actually could have been helpful in lowering your gases. Maybe it just didn't lower them enough where you're actually feeling better. But seeing the results of what you did for the first 2 to 4 weeks can be very encouraging and help you keep a positive mindset as you continue to treat your SIBO. It's also possible that that first round of treatment did not do anything at all and you feel the same. In that case, obviously you'll have to do a different treatment anyways to keep going. Situation two is you actually feel better, which is great. This also has two different likely scenarios. The first is that you did lower the gas levels, but you actually may still have SIBO. In this case, it's nice to know that the SIBO is still there so you can do another treatment. The other thing that it could mean is that the SIBO is gone. In that case, we'll transition, not do any more SIBO treatment, and start doing the other things on the checklist, which I'm about to describe next. So as I mentioned, if the SIBO is not gone when you do the retest, I'd recycle back up to step number 2. If the SIBO was gone, I'd proceed to the next step. Number 8 is to start prokinetics. If your follow-up breath test is negative for SIBO, this is when you'll want to start the prokinetic. Many cases of SIBO result from having an impaired motility of your small intestine. Therefore, using a prokinetic may help you prevent a recurrence of SIBO. The 9th item is to heal your gut. Unfortunately, SIBO often causes leaky gut, also called intestinal hyperpermeability. It means that you may not be absorbing food as well, may have more inflammation, and digestive and non-digestive symptoms. You can have leaky gut without SIBO, but it's very uncommon to have SIBO without some amount of leaky gut. Fortunately, this can be fixed and is not permanent. And then number 10, last item on the checklist, is to reintroduce foods. This is the fun part. If you were doing a low FODMAP diet, you probably stopped eating a lot of foods that were highly fermentable so that you did not have as many symptoms while doing your SIBO treatment. In the months after eliminating SIBO, it is usually a good idea for most people to slowly introduce more of these foods that are more highly fermentable. And that is everything. To briefly recap: number 1, lactulose hydrogen breath test. 2, choose a treatment. 3, address constipation. 4, start your diet. 5, biofilms. 6, treatment. 7, follow-up breath test. 8, prokinetics. 9, gut healing. And 10, reintroduce foods. That is all for today. I hope you really found this video helpful. If you did, please like, subscribe to my channel, and do all the things. Let me know your thoughts on the video in the comments down below. If you are new to my channel, I post a new full-length video every Monday evening in YouTube Shorts throughout the week. I have a ton of other content on SIBO also, which is somewhere here on the screen. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next video.